Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Welcome to everybody here live in Chicago and Chodorov. Welcome to the, right now it's maybe 3,500 new people that are, there's sound coming out of the screen over here, if you don't mind. No, just turn down the volume. It's 3,500 people so far that are joining both the Hebrew and the English syiumim. So I want to say Shalom Aleichem to you. I'm going to address you in a moment. Mazel Tov to all the Messiahim. Mazel Tov to all those who finished Masechta Sanhedrin. Shalom Aleichem, come on in, my friends, my tired friends. Simcha Yisrael to see you guys. Very nice crowd here. Halavai. Close to 30 people in Chicago. It's a big thing. So today we're starting Masechtas Makkos. It's only 23 days, and it's a very Gishmaka Masechta. Baruch Hu gave it to us, 2 days before Pesach. It's not the best time in the world to start a Masechta, but nevertheless, this is Daf Yomi, and sometimes it comes easier, sometimes it's harder, and we have to learn how to deal with it. Even on Erev Yontif, we have to learn the Daf. So, I want to say a tremendous yishkoyach to Fishel, who has over 600 people who signed up on his program. And he has a bunch of people that signed up and they're not eligible for the $250 thing. But he says, don't worry about it. From his experience, a lot of people don't do all the rules and they miss a daf here and daf there. Then you could sneak right in and take their $250. We also have with us in the room, he doesn't want me to say his name, so I'm not going to say his name. Yishkoyach, tremendous yishkoyach to Shmuel Wasserman, who's sponsoring over 600 salamis. Anybody that signed up to Official's program is eligible to salami. So yishkoyach to him. This is the brand new Gemara. This is the first time it came out. An art scroll with nekudos. Meaning the nekudos are on the regular Tzur Sadaf. There's nekudos in the Rashi, in the Tosfos, in the Gemara. It makes it much easier to read. We're talking about balabatim. A lot of us don't know how to read at all. And with the nekudos, it makes it easy to read. It's actually the same exact Tzur Sadaf from the Gemara that I read. The art scroll went ahead and used the Oiz V'Hadar. They're working on some sort of program where they're not going to change the Tzur Sadaf at all, but this is for what we have now. So I have to say, tremendous chavrisa. If you open up here, the front, this is an original copy that I got from the one who donated most of these Gemaras, or I shouldn't say most, let's say 2/3 of these Gemaras. R Elis, and I'll show it right here on the screen. Everybody that gets a Gemara gets one of these. He's the one that pushed Art Scroll to do the Nekudas and Art Scroll. I spoke to them and they said that, as Lado had said, he's working on the rest of Shas. So tremendous yishkoyach for all the Gemaras that you donated, you, your brother. In here you see what brought me to tears the first time I saw it is my son Aaron donated $2,000 towards the Gemaras. We have an honest from Spring Valley, Yishkoyach, Yonishmas, Pinchas Ben Mordechai Tenenbaum. We have the Belsky, Moti Belsky, all the way in the bottom, a big one, donated $10,000 towards the Gemaras. And then we have Fishel, the giant Fishel. So Yishkoyach. In here, we also have tips. I'm going to go over the tips. A lot of times you start a program, you start like an exercise program, and you look up things like, how do I stay with it? And how? So we put in some tips, easy tips that actually work. And I would like to share some of them with you. It's a little fuzzy. We'll do our best. Here, I'm going to read right out of here. All the tips. Never try to make up a missed daf. This is the number one tip that I found from experience. And that is, a lot of people are perfectionists and they have to They have to do every single daf, and if they don't do the daf, they feel like they didn't finish the Masechta. So what happens is, let's say it's Erev Yontiv this year, it's Erev Pesach, and you can't do the daf. So you say, oh, I'll make it up. I'll learn 2 daf on Pesach. But that doesn't happen. It's hard to do 2 daf. You don't do anything, and then you fall behind 2 daf, and then before you know it, you're 3 daf, and then you just give up. That is the Yetzer Hara. So the idea is, even for perfectionists, and many people have fought me on this, and they said, no, I'm different. I need to do every daf. It's not going to work. And then later on, they send me an email. You were right. I should have listened to you, or I listened to you, and that's why I'm still here. Over and over and over. So I'm giving you this tip. Don't fight with it, because I'm a perfectionist, and this is how I learned this idea on myself. Just do today's daf, wherever Klal Yisrael is up to. And what's special about this one, there's a little calendar here that allows you to mark off the dafim you did. And the daf you didn't do, just circle. You make some sort of sign that you're going to go back. And eventually, trust me, you're going to go back and you're going to finish that daf. So that's tip number 1 and the most important one. In this tip, it says it's not about the daf, it's about the yomi. I initially said it, and I still believe that that's why the phrase is so popular, is because it means that Torah is meant to be learned every single day. Even Erev Pesach, and even Matzi Pesach, and Chal HaMoed, and the first day of Chal, second day of Chal HaMoed, during the trips. I received some emails today. One guy said, this is the first time in his life that he's packing a Gemara going on vacation. And we have, every day, people tell us things like that. So it's not the daf, it's the yomi, it's learning Torah every day. But that also goes into the next point here. Build an unbreakable habit. The number 1 thing about Daf Yomi, I believe, is creating a habit. And creating a habit with Torah is so powerful. And that's what people, they just can't believe how going from hardly learning or learning, sometimes yes and sometimes not, learning every single day, on days that you go on vacation, days that you go skiing, days that you're flying to Eretz Yisrael, you're learning. That makes a tremendous impression on a person, and he realizes that if he could do that, he could do anything. And then they bring that habit to other areas in life, in the workplace, in exercise, in eating, in everything. In Shnayim Mikra, somebody wrote me an email today, that he's doing Shnayim Mikra. He's learning halachas with his wife every day. His life has changed, from going from 0 to 100. Next thing, stick with it for 60 to 90 days. This is the magic window where learning transforms from an effort into second nature. After that, it will feel as natural as breathing. This habit, it takes about 60 days. Some people it takes 90 days, 100 days. If you finish Masechta Sanhedrin, you should be good now. Just don't break it. Be careful. And you could fall, and you will fall. And there'll be days that you're not going to do it. That's okay. You skip ahead. That's lesson number 1. But the 60 to 90 days is the magic window. So therefore, this Masechta is not enough. There's only 23 days. You're going to have to finish Shavuos also. So, which brings me to the next point, and I want to go into something here. Find a progress partner. It's not a chavrisa. It's just a person that you can rely on, that the two of you have a WhatsApp group, and you say, I did today's daf, thumbs up, Shalom Yisrael. And he'll bug you. It works with exercise, it works with other things, it works with the daf. Somebody that holds you accountable. We're not in kindergarten here, but you want somebody to remind you, especially in the beginning, when it's tough and it's hard to build this habit. So we are introducing a brand new program. It's going phenomenally well. We didn't even start it, but it's going well. What do I mean by that? We're doing an accountability program where all these new people, the 3,500 people, it's going to be more. It's probably going to be 4,500, 5,000 by the time Pesach comes along. I'm sorry. You're going to give salami to everybody? Even the guys that are not in the... How does it work? Whatever, we'll figure it out. Forget the salami. The oilam, here's... Everybody that gets a Gemara is going to be put in a WhatsApp group that belongs to his neighborhood. So if you're from Chicago, you're going to be in a Chicago group. You're in Borough Park. RBS. And in Hebrew it's called a rakaz. I don't know what it's called in English. What is it called? Maybe administrator of the group. we have about 45 people that signed up to be these administrators. That's what I mean by it's going well. We have two guys, Moshe Blas and Eli Stefansky, a third cousin of mine in Israel, who are basically running the program under Noam Fix. Noam Fix is leading the program. These two guys are going to be in charge of all these administrators, Rekazim, and the Rekazim are in charge of their groups. And the idea is to make smaller groups, break up MDY into smaller groups. 35,000 people is too hard to make it feel like a real mishpacha. If we have smaller groups, then these smaller groups in different neighborhoods could get together for syiumim, get together for Milav Malkas, get together just to watch the shir, just in general have like more of a one-on-one kind of feeling. And these Rekazim are going to give one message a day. Only very few. We don't want to overload people with WhatsApp messages. One message a day. First of all, there'll be a poll where people could say that they did the daf, and whoever doesn't sign in, then the administrator will realize that something's wrong with this guy and give him like a little nudge eventually. Like after 2 days, everything okay, that sort of thing. So the idea is also to help people finish the Masechta, build the Mishpacha, and we're going to see how it works during Makkos, and if it works well, we're going to go into Shavuos. But if people finish Masechtas Makkos, B'li Neder, we will give them another free Gemara to help them build this habit. The idea was, I told the Olam, I told my guys, instead of us working and getting all these new guys, we do every Masechta, another 2,000, another 3,000, and then half of them fall off. Let's focus on the people we get now from Makkos and keep them in. And then they'll be dafers for life. So that's the idea. And Be'ezer Hashem, with these ideas, and we'll be able to finish the Masechta together, even though we're starting a little bit of a tough time, but that's okay. If you can do it now, you can do anything. And what else did I want to say? First of all, I want to say the 3 people flew in special. Took a plane, Erev Yontif, to be in today's shir. So I want to say Shkoyach to Dr. Shmuel Gans and his son. What's your name again? Ariel, who's accepted to Aish, Torah and Yisroel. Be'ezer Hashem, you come visit me. You're in Bet Shemesh. But here's the thing. The 2 of them flew in to Park City. Shmuel, you were there also that time. You were there that day. They flew into Park City. They told me, we flew in to hear your shir. And I'm like, I believe them. But listen, there's a little bit of a side benefit that they went skiing, But here they proved themselves. They came to Chicago from sunny Boca to the freezing cold Chicago. Obviously, they come and they fly just for the shir. So Yishkoyach for coming here. Steve Seichel is also here. Yishkoyach for flying in for today's shir. And with that, we could go to our sponsors. The Masechta is sponsored by anonymous Hatzlacha B'Parnasa. Yisroel Cherns in honor of my chavrisa. I love it. The first time ever. In honor of my chavrisa Shmueli Unger. By Szlafrok Family, in memory of their uncle, Simmy Schaer. Something like that. Listen, coming from Szlafrok, so you don't know exactly what his relatives' names are. Uncle Simmy. Simcha Yisrael ben Naftali Tzvi A. Anonymous, may our learning bring us closer to one another and to Hashem. Monthly sponsors, Hatzlacha B'Parnasa. Monthly sponsor, Parnasa Birevach for Baruch Nissim ben Shoshana Leah. Yoni Klestzick. Refuah Shelamah, Yehudit Brayna Bas Sipar Rivka. The Kollel sponsor of the month. Thank you to Rebelli's wife and kids for the great sacrifice they make, allowing him to spread Torah to the masses. Parnas Hayoim for the Kollel in honor of Binyomin Desau. Daily sponsor Shaya Spira London UK, making 2 syiumim Daf Yomi and orayso with Rabbi Lubelski. He says he gave me credit for leaving his job, he had a business, and he learns the daf all day. I went to visit him when I was in London, Rabbi Lubelski. He gives the daf in Yiddish, in orayso. Since Tainas, Daf Beis, 1,243 dafim learned in 3.4 years. Mazel Tov. Ari Friedman, in honor of their son, Shai Friedman, 13 years old, taking on Daf Yomi starting today. Hatzlacha Shai. Innovations LLC, and as a Christ, the new anonymous turning the DAF sponsor, Mr. Hashem should always be able to continue to support MDY and help bring more people to the DAF. In honor of Chava Bas Miriam, by Pinchas Byrne. He's here in the room for the yard side of Dana, Paganit, Alea Shalom Dvar Sarah Bat Moshe, Rebelli, see you in Chicago. We saw each other and we see each other right now. Akiva Simon, welcoming my fellow Pasek 8th graders to MDY. Hope we finish Makkos and Shas together. You hear this? The 8th graders from Pasek. Rabbi Ben Shushan called me today. He left me a message actually. And he said a bunch of his guys in Yula are also doing the daf. So Shalom Aleichem to you guys in Yula. I don't know if we'll be able to patch them in the middle of this year because we're a little earlier than usual, but maybe Mark will be able to do some magic. Mazel tov to Sheldon Reich, who just completed his personal siyum shas. May his personal achievement be a zgula for his speedy Refuah Shelamah. Rocky Kane, in honor of M2 Property Group and Abney Lakes. Wow. So, I don't know why you're laughing, but Rocky was in the hospital yesterday, had some medical condition. And I was super surprised when I found out that he did the shear in his condition. And M2 Property is the management group that takes care of my property, which is Abney Lakes. So I didn't know about this. This is the first time I'm seeing this. Yishkoich Rocky Kane. Abney Lakes is in Indianapolis. Did you go with me last year? You went. Luzzy's here. He went with me. Shmueli and Dino Gans, in memory of IDF Captain Moshe Yedidya Ben Yechiel Michal Leiter. Michal Leiter. May his neshama have an aliyah. Amen. And by Abba Rennert, I just saw the other day, Leah Nishmas, Reb Shimshon David Pinko Zechet Tzadik Koshel Bracha. V'Rabbanit, Chayim Mindel Ubita Miriam Alei Shalom on their yard side. I was here, I lived in Chicago when this happened, and also, first I'm seeing it, I didn't chap, maybe I would have said something over from him. I say a lot of things from Shimshon Pinkos. I didn't chap, it's his yard side. Okay, his neshama should have an aliyah, so one of the girls that was in the car accident with Reb Shimshon, his daughter, was brought here to Chicago, and a big tzaddik, Lester I think his name was, big tzaddik from Lakewood, uprooted his whole family, came to Chicago to take care of this girl for a year or so. MDY Kids Monthly Innovations Chus for Fischl, Achanan, Akiva, Rivki, Mrs. Stefansky, Art of the Mother of Shlomo, Besheva, and in honor of Yossi Klein and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work they do. Rabbi said, I think 17 minutes is enough. We could get into the learning now. Who do we have here? I see a lot of people on Zoom. That's what I see, but I can't see them clearly. Do we have the Bachurim from Yula, the guys from Yula? No, we don't have the guys from Yula. Okay. Givaldik. Shalom Aleichem to all the guys on Zoom. There's 31 people on YouTube. Shalom Aleichem to everybody. I'm not going to tell you what day this is. It's not the original. This is not the day that everybody's learning Makkos. We're a little bit ahead because the idea is to allow people to do a couple of dapim Erev Pesach and Matzah Yontif Rishon so that they could be all caught up. Otherwise, I would have to give 6 syiumim on Friday, which is almost impossible. Says the Heilige Gemara, the Mishnah. Keitzad ha'edim nasim syiumim. How do edim become syiumim? Now, what is syiumim? Syiumim, I could show you this 3D video that we did. Maybe it'll give you a little bit of an idea. Then I'll explain it. Here we go.
We heard from the testimonies of Zalman and Kalman that you murdered Avrumi Lincoln at Ford's Theater. Is there anything you have in your defense?
Is a 9mm handgun good enough?
No.
Maybe you have witnesses who will turn the first witnesses into Eidim Syiumim.
Zomimim?
What is that? Some kind of martial art?
Syiumim means that if you bring witnesses to testify that Zalman and Kalman were actually on a cruise in the Caribbean at the time of the murder, then you will be acquitted and Zalman and Kalman will be killed in your place.
Cool. I killed the prez and they get the death penalty. I'm loving this.
Givaldik. So now you know what syiumim is. Let me see. We had a little bit of I want to see if this is ready. Yoshi, our main artist, was working on this till 3:30, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning by him. It wasn't ready yet. He's having some issues over there. So what's syiumim? Syiumim two witnesses, two Eidim come and say that Reuven did something. Let's say they say Reuven killed somebody. And then we find out that they're false witnesses. These two guys are false witnesses. So we take the false witnesses and we do exactly what they intended to do. So let's say they intended to kill Reuven because they said that Reuven killed someone. He's a murderer. They lied. They testified falsely. So now we take them and we kill them. That only occurs at a very specific time. If Reuven was already killed, then we don't kill them. It's only after Bezdin says that we have to kill Reuven and before we kill Reuven. So it's a very, very short period of time. We'll see it throughout the Masechta. Let's see. I just want to see if we have something here. They said he's a bad guy. They made him into a Rasha, like a killer. Okay, whatever. It's not completely there. Great. So let's see the Mishnah. Case of the Eidim Nasim Zayimim. How do Eidim become Zayimim? And then the Mishnah goes on to say how they are not Zayimim, and the Gemara is going to address this. If the Eidim say, so this is a pasuk, Isha Zayda b'chalal lo yikachu, v'isha grusha mi'isha lo yikachu, ki kadish lo yikachu. A kohen is not allowed to marry a divorcee or a chalala. So they come along and they testify that this kohen married a divorcee. And therefore what? His children are going to be chalalim. His children don't have a halacha of a regular kohen. They get an aliyah like Yisrael, regular guys. They're chalalim. Like, let's see. This is a kohen, right? They're testifying that he's not a kohen, he is a chalal. Yeah, he's a simple guy. He's not a kohen, he's a chalal. Same guy, but a chalal. And R Elis is ben grusha or ben chalutza tachtav. So now, this is how you don't become a zaymim. If he were to be a zaymim, if the Eidim would testify that this guy is a chalal, and we find out that they're lying, so we should take these Eidim and make them, if they are Kaihanim, they should be Chalalim. If the two Eidim that testify about this guy, now we have to do whatever they wanted to do. They wanted to make this guy a Chalal, so we should take him and make him a Chalal. The Eidim, they should be Chalal, if they're Kaihanim. No, you don't do that. This is an exception to the rule. If they wanted to kill that guy, we'll kill the Eidim. But if they want to make him into a Chalal, they want to say that he's not a real Kayan, he's a fake, then we cannot make them fake. We're going to see in the Gemara why. So there's an exception to the rule. So in fact, the lashon of the Mishnah is a little difficult, which the Gemara is going to address. It should say, Keitzad ha'edim eina edim nasim zaymimim. How don't they become zaymim? This is a great case of how they don't become, not how they do become. By the way, I looked it up just before I came this year. In America, what happens if somebody testifies that so-and-so murdered somebody? He lied. It happens all the time. Avi Kamiansky deals with this on a daily basis. You bring a false witness, so-and-so killed somebody, they put a guy in jail for 30, 40 years. It happens, you take the guy out, then he sues the city for $400 million. You know, this is what happens. Or maybe he did kill and he pretends he didn't, whatever, but what happens when we find out that you lied? You admit that you lied. You lied and you put somebody in jail for 40 years. What's the halacha here in America? You go to jail for 40 years? He put somebody in jail for 40 years. He should go to jail for 40 years. So what I found, I couldn't find too much, maximum 5 years in jail. If you give a guy a death sentence, you testify falsely about a guy, and it's in a state that they give the death sentence, 5 years in jail max. Okay? In the Torah, the guy would get the death penalty before they killed him. Because once they kill him, there's no death. You don't do kasher zamam. Like kasher also. Okay, that's how halacha we'll learn later on. In R Elis is ben grusha ben chalutza tachtav ella loike arbaim. The only thing is, these Eidim get 40 malchus. I saw an interesting chidah, and I also saw it in the name of Rabbi Yaakov Meir Kavlanitz. Never heard of him, but he has a sefer called Mafteach Hayam. If anybody wants to look it up, it's in there. First of all, it answers a question. It doesn't address this question, but why is this Masechta called Makkos? What should it be called? Malkus. There's no Makkos in the Torah. Makkos is what, the Rebbe used to give us, the Cheder. Why is it called Malkus? So he says, it doesn't come to answer that, but he just has an idea. Makkos, the gematria of Makkos, is 466. And he says that he asked some big doilim in Prague, talking about, 400 years ago, whatever. He asked them, and they said one gadol fasted for 40 days to find out how to prevent bad thoughts, hirurim. And they told him, learn Masechtas Makkos. And in fact, he says, Makkos and hirurim is the same exact gematria of 466, so it's his gula, that's what he says. But the Chidah says it also, so I said, okay, ish dvarim b'gai. So, says the Mishnah, there's another case. Midmanu b'ishploini shuchayiv liglois. Certain person, let's say, killed someone inadvertently, b'shoigig. There's a guy fixing a ladder that's not attached to the house, and he kills the guy. Okay, this is the good part. He has to run to the Ir HaMiklat. Otherwise, the relative of the guy that got killed could kill him. So let's say two Adam come and they lie. They say, so-and-so fell off a ladder and killed somebody. In the Adam don't have to go to Galus. So they don't go to Galus. The Gemara is going to explain why. But they get Malkus. By the way, if you notice in the Mishnah has all three prakim. It hints to all three prakim. First it says Ketzad Adam syiumim. That's the whole first parak about syiumim. Then it says talking about loika. That's the second parak. Look at the second parak. It's called. Second parak is Elo HaGoylim. So that's at the end. It says Shru Chayiv Liglois. And the third parak is Elohein Aloikin. So it talks about all three prakim in the first Mishnah. It's a hint to all three prakim. The Yismach Moshe Satmar Rav Friedeke, he says, how come Adam syiumim? He says a beautiful idea. How come Adam syiumim don't go to Galus? He says because we say that the people in the Ir Miklat, they always daven that the Kohen Gadol should die. They want to get out. So it's not so nice to the Kohen Gadol. You have a bunch of people davening that he should die. So the Gemara explains, yes, they daven that he should die because it's his fault. Under his watch, something like this shouldn't have happened. Somebody shouldn't have fallen off a ladder. He should have davened whatever davening he should have davened on Yom Kippur, that this shouldn't have happened. And since it happened under his watch, he's guilty in a way, and people daven, okay, it's not so nice. But this guy, these two Adam syiumim who lied and they went to Ir Miklat, they're also going to daven that he should die. Why did the Kohen Gadol deserve that? That wasn't under his watch. These are guys that did something deliberately. He couldn't prevent that. He can't stop people from doing bad stuff. So that's why he says a svara that they shouldn't go to the Ir Miklat. All right. Says the Gemara, the wording is not so good in the Mishnah. Because we say, how does an Eid become an Eid Zayimim? You give me a case how he doesn't become an Eid Zayimim. So the language should say, we should say, Ketzad ein ha'edim nasim zayimim. That's question number one. Ketzad ein ha'edim nasim zayimim b'arlei. Question number two is, V'oid, l'thani l'kaman, aval amr le'em eichatem me'idim. Later on, we have a Mishnah that says exactly how they become Zayimim. So that means that's where we're discussing how you become Zayimim, not in our Mishnah. Yeah? That's in Daf Hey, we're gonna talk about it. How you become an Eid Zayimim. So obviously, this Mishnah doesn't tell it to us. Doesn't explain it. Says the Gemara, says Gemara, Tana Hasam Kai. I don't know if you remember, those of you who learned Sanhedrin with us, right when we started Perek Chelik, I explained, and I brought up this Gemara right here. The last parak of Sanhedrin is Perek Chelik, 23 daf straight of stories of a God, besides one before the end. And in the Mishnayos, Perek Chelik is not the last Perek. Perek Chelik is second to last. And now it makes a lot of sense. Right? The last Mishnah before Chelik talks about something that our Mishnah is a continuation of that Mishnah. It says, Tana Hasam Kai. Our Tana is referring to over there, to Sanhedrin. If you testify falsely that somebody's chayiv misa, you get that misa. So, if you remember, we were talking there about the Bas Kain. Here's a Bas Kain. We have a daughter of a Kain. What happened was, two Edom say that she was Mizana. So she's Mizana, what does she get? She gets Sreifa. Sreifa is they pour hot molten down her throat, she drinks hot molten, and she dies. So they wanted to kill her with Sreifa. Now what happens if we find out that they lied? They get the death penalty. What do they get? Oh, they get chenek. They get what the regular Eishasish gets, not the Sreifa. That's a special Xeris HaKasav. Very good. So here we have two Eidim saying, Manu Yisem, you were on a cruise ship with us, you weren't even there, what are you talking about? You're liars. So look what it says, they get chenek, they get the rope. They don't get, okay. So Mela, since over there we're talking about a situation where you don't get, the Eidim Zayimim don't get the Misa that they should have gotten. They should have gotten Sreifa, but they don't get Sreifa. Why? Again, I missed one piece here. The Noyef gets chenek. Only the woman gets Sreifa, the man gets chenek. If you have two misas, one is more severe than the other, you get the more severe one. They should have gotten Sreifa because it's more severe. Special because if they get the lesser one, they get the chenek. Okay. So Meila, Tana Hazankai, they don't get the same misa that they wanted to give. They get a different death. Our Mishnah, is saying how, in other words, our Mishnah is continuing from over there, saying when you have a situation that you don't get the same punishment as they intended to give, what do they get? Means what punishment should these Eidim get? Not how do you become an Eid Zayimim, but what do we do with these Eidim Zayimim? So if you have a situation where they don't get whatever they intended to do, for instance, they try to make a Kayan, a Chalal, they try to make his children Chalalim, they don't become Halal. So what do they get? They get Malchus. Okay. And Memela, that explains the following Mishnah, and Daf says, so how do you become Eid Zayimim? That's not our Mishnah over here. Our Mishnah is, what punishment do you get? And the answer is, you get Malchus Arbaim. Yeah, Ketzad. What's the case? So now we go into the Mishnah. We testify that this person is the son of a Grusha Bechalutz. I'll tell you a story, famous story with Rebbe Eliashiv. There was a guy who was married, he was a Kayan. He was married to a woman for a long time, more than 10 years. And they didn't have any children. Terrible thing. And he really wanted children. So he said, listen, the halacha is, you married for 10 years, no children, you get divorced. We're married already for more than that. Let's go our own ways. So he got divorced. A month later, she calls him up, she says, oh, Mazel Tov, I'm pregnant. A true story. So he went crazy. He didn't know what to do. He's going to have a baby, and he divorced this woman for no reason. She's a great shidduch, and he can't take her back. He's a kain. So he went to Rebbe Eliashiv. Rebbe Eliashiv heard the story, he says, go to the Kollel and daven to Hashem. He says, daven, what daven? I want to marry, daven to Hashem. So he goes to the Kollel, he cries his heart out. And the guy goes by there, he says, why are you crying so much? He's told the story. He says, you're not a kain. Call up your father. So he called up his father. He said, I was at the Kollel, I cried, I divorced. The guy said I should call you. He says, yeah, because you're adopted. You're not even a Kayin. That was a Shaya with Rebbe Eliashiv. Anyway, Ben Grusha, Ben Chalutza. In Ayim Yasa, Zeben Grusha, Ben Chalutza, Tachtav, Elaloikis Harbaim. Okay. That's the Mishnah. How do you know that if somebody comes along and says that so-and-so is not a real kohen, he's married to, your father was married to a grusha, this story, you're not even a kohen. You're a chalal. But not immediately. Or Shmueli Levi, yeah, I have a friend, frummer than all of us here in this room. Great guy, famous guy actually. And when it's his father, anybody that knows him, his father gets kohen, and he gets Yisrael. Because his mother is a Baal Tshuva, and it turns out that he's a chalal. His father wasn't allowed to marry this woman. Kohen could only marry somebody that never had relations with a non-Jew, and that's not the case. So Memela, he is a chalal. Regular guy, normal, geschmacka, great guy. Just, everybody knows, he's a chalal. What does that mean? He doesn't act like a kohen. He can't be a kohen. He can't do duchening. He doesn't get the aliyah. It's a chal. It happens. Happens to the best. Since the famous pasuk of Edim Zayim says you should do to the Edim like they intended to do. Kasher Zamam. Loi v'loi lezaroi. You could punish the Eid, but you can't punish his children. And by you making this guy, this kohen witness, a chalal, that means that his children are chalalim, and you can't do that. Says Gemara, so okay, so say he's a chalal. It's a one generational thing. One generation he's a chalal, but his children will remain kohanim. No, you have to do exactly like he intended to do. He intended to make that guy a chalal, his children a chalal, all the generations chalalim, and therefore you have to do the same exact thing. Since you can't do it completely, don't do it at all. He gets Makkos. So that's one reason, and we're going to go back to this reason. This is the main reason. Now we're going to attempt the reason. The Gemara is going to slug it up right away. A kohen himself, right? A kohen who marries a divorcee, the children become chalalim. What about the kohen himself? Nothing happens to him. So the Gemara says, Habal chalal v'lo chilel, and it didn't chalal. If the kohen himself, who married the wrong person, married a divorcee, his children are chalalim, he himself is not a chalal. So this these edim zayimim, these bad guys, these liars, these fake edim, they try to make somebody a chalal, and it didn't work. Certainly, they themselves should not be chalalim. So the Gemara says that logic doesn't work, because if you're going to say whatever they intended, it should have effect this way, that way, then we have a different question. Using your logic, then there shouldn't be the whole halacha of Edim Zayim at all. Why? Daf Beis Amud Beis. Uma hasoikel ene niskal. Edim Zayim came and they said that so and so was Bechal Shabbos. They took that guy and stoned him to death. Uma hasoikel ene niskal. What do you do to the Edim Zayim in that case? They already killed a guy. Nothing. You can't do anything to him. Because the whole halacha of Edim Zayim is only right before he dies, between the Gemar Din and before the guy dies. Once he's dead, it says, V'loi kasher asav, asisim loi kasher zamam, like they wanted to do, but not what they did. If they already went ahead and they killed the guy, then there's no kasher zamam. So he's saying, if that's the logic, in this guy, if in a case where I kill a guy, because of me he's dead, then I don't die. So let's use your logic. We'll start making kavachimers over here. So if I wanted to give the guy skila, but he's not dead yet, and additionally, then certainly I shouldn't ever kill an Eid Zayimim. If the guy is dead completely, I cause him to die, they don't kill the Eid Zayimim. So certainly if I didn't cause him to die, I just wanted him to die, so certainly I shouldn't die. Let's go back to the original pshat that we just said a minute ago, that we cannot do something that will cause harm to the children. And over here, by making this guy a halal, his children are halalim, and that we can't do. Next sugya. Sponsors. Ooh. A few guys in Lakewood in a conference room. Givaldik. We need over 10 guys in order to say an official hi.
That's what Mark said.
What? That's what he told him back? No way. Baruch shekivanti tamar. Turning of the daf. I gave a live share today. We were able to. I had an idea. I wanted to. It's the last daf of Sanhedrin. I said, okay, let's do a live share in the Bismerish from Ramat Shemesh. Every night, 50, 60 guys get together over there. It's like unbelievable. Let me surprise them. So they thought they were about to watch a recorded share, and I jumped in and I started talking to them. Said, hey, why are you sitting over there? There's that, and they realized I'm live. So that took about 2 hours to figure out the technology, because it becomes complicated because we have the charts, and I have to put the charts on the screen as I'm talking, and at the same time be live in there and see them and hear them. And we have microphones around the room and be able to hear them. And the guy, said something and I heard him and he was answering back and this and that. So it's very cool. So during the shir, they started showing on Zoom. We started seeing Beitar had like 20 guys, and Rechasim and all these different places around there Yisrael were sitting. They didn't know that was going to be live. They're sitting around the table, and they were watching the shir. What else did they have? They had Rechasim, Beitar, a lot, I think, and the Bismerish. Very, very nice. Okay, Beis Hashem in America also, in different places, in Lakewood, in this conference room. Turn to the daf. Adar Global, one-stop shop for all your financial needs. Innovations LLC in honor of our sons Kalmo 12, Yisroel 9, for learning Sanhedrin with the Rebelli. Unbelievable. 9-year-old making a siyum on himself. I'm jealous of this kid. What were we doing when we were 9 years old? In honor of Adar Global and Kinnovations, true role models of how to support the daf and learning. So that's why today, if you notice, Kinnovations doesn't know who sponsored this, I don't think, because I'm not allowed to know either. This in honor of Adar Kinnovations. So Kinnovations, maybe I shouldn't say that either, because then everyone knows Kinnovations. Okay, fine. I have to see what was the first one. Let's take this off. I just want to see, make sure I didn't mess up here. There's one here, a daily sponsor. Oh, no. It was here. Here it is. Kinnovations LLC. Now we understand this one. As a Karsa Toiv to the new anonymous turning the DAF sponsor, Emir Hashem, you should always be able to continue to support MDY and help bring more people to the DAF. So Kinnovations gave back the anonymous guy. Okay, fine. Meanwhile, MDY is making money. We don't care. This guy could do, and now the other guy will do it in honor of Kinnovations who gave the Kinnovation. It doesn't matter. Shkoyach. Daf Beis, Amud Beis. 3 lines down. Once again, you saw that video of a guy running to the Ira Miklat. A guy, if the 2 of them say, you fell off a ladder and killed somebody, you better go into Galus. Hey, it's a very bad thing. You tell a guy, uproot from your family, leave, and go to some other city. You have to be there until the Kohen Gadol dies. It's a big punishment. So we don't tell the Eidim to go. We find out that the Eidim are liars. We don't tell the Eidim to do the same thing, to go to Galus. How do we know? This guy that fell off the ladder, the guy that was b'shaygig. Here we have another one. Let me just show you. This is the one I always use. Oh, the sound, but I'll just leave it. Okay. So he's chopping wood. That's the famous Gemara. He's chopping wood. It's machlokes, whether if the piece of metal hit him and he's chayiv. But okay, there's a classic case of somebody not intending to kill somebody and he dies. You have to go to the R Miklat. Who? The guy that's chopping the wood, he has to run away to one of these cities, the R Miklat. Who? But not the Eidim Zayim. So it's Exer Sakasa. Rabbi Yochanan Omer, Kal v'chomer, umahu sha'asa ma'isa, the killer who took action. Yeah, he killed somebody with his own hands. If, let's say, there's no hasra or whatever, Bezin is not going to kill him. But he doesn't go to Galus either. He doesn't run away to Yer Miklat. Hey, these guys didn't take action with their hands. Yeah, they just spoke, but they didn't kill anybody. B'mezid and the way we read it is, they didn't take a maisa. B'mezid means, of course, they did it on purpose, but they didn't do a maisa. The point here is that they didn't take action. It wasn't a physical thing. They spoke. They said, this guy killed somebody. But it's not a real maisa. It's not killing somebody with a gun, with a sword. And if somebody kills somebody deliberately, he doesn't go to galus. So certainly, Adim who lied and didn't kill somebody with their hands, they wanted to kill somebody, certainly they shouldn't go to galus. Says the Gemara, no, you can use that logic in the reverse. And this is the last time we're going to have one of these kavachimers today. No, the opposite. This killer who took a gun and killed somebody, he shouldn't deserve to go to galus. Why? He shouldn't have a kapara on his avera. He needs a big kapara. And to go to galus is a treat. You have to, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? Not a treat. It's not, like a benefit. It's like something special. A privilege. Oh, Steve, he flew in. It's a privilege to go to galus. Why? Because it erases your ritzicha. But a guy that kills somebody deliberately with a gun, he doesn't have that privilege. On the flip side, these guys that in America, you only get 5 years prison, no. So maybe they should deserve a kapara. I could hear where somebody kills somebody deliberately with a gun, he shouldn't go to a galus. But aid who just wanted to cause a guy to go to get the death penalty, then he should be able to go to galus. Maybe. We're going to use the original teres of Rish Lakish, that how do you know that if somebody testifies falsely that somebody should go to galus, he doesn't go to galus because of the pasuk hu yanus. So we're going to stick with that. It's Exeris Akasa, it says hu yanus. Amarula, brand new sugi, Rabboisai, a brand new sugi. Amarula, remez la'edim zoymim min atorim minayin. Where do you see a hint to this whole idea of edim zoymim? Ask the Gemara immediately. Remez la'edim zoymim. For aksiv, vasisim like a shazam. What do you mean, where's there a hint? It's a straight out pasuk that talks about edim zoymim. Vasisim like a shazam. No, what I meant to ask is, remez la'edim zoymim sheloikim min atorim minayin. When, in our Mishnah, when you cannot do the kasher zamam, you can't fulfill the Torah's thing, you can't make a kohen into a halal for whatever reason. You can't make a guy go to galus for whatever. So how do you know that his punishment is malchus? You give him 39 lashes. How do you know? By the way, here's a picture Yoshi did, an AI thingy. Not this one, this one. Okay, something like that. You give him malchus. Because it says in the pasuk, the simple meaning of the pasuk. Let me see if I have this pasuk over here. No. Okay. It says in the pasuk like this. When you read it, it seems like we're talking about the Dayanim and Bezdin. They say, right, every time you have two parties that come to Bezdin. So the Bezdin is going to say, you are the tzaddikim, and you are the Rishayim. You owe $100, you don't owe $100, right? One party is the tzaddik, and one is the Rasha. Not literally, there's two sides. V'tzdikos tzaddik, v'rishim is Rasha. But what's the continuation of the pasuk? V'haya im bin hakoyser Rasha. It says that then they get malchus. So the Gemara says it makes no sense. Mishum v'tzdikos tzaddik v'rishim is Rasha v'haya im bin hakoyser Rasha. Because so then every single time somebody comes to Bezdin and one is guilty and one is not guilty, so then is malchus involved? No way, it's impossible. You can't learn the pasuk like that. So what's the pshat in the pasuk? Ella must be eidim shius hatzadik. Oh, so that's what Yoshi was showing before. So let's see how it works. Eidim come and say that this guy, this tzaddik, the guy with the white beard, is a Rasha. Yeah, they lied about him. They said he's a bad guy. He killed somebody. Oh, two Eidim come in and they say, you guys are Rishayim. And the first guy, they create the first Eidim are the Rishayim. They're liars. They imanu yisim. You were on the cruise ship with us. You weren't even in Brooklyn then. Okay. And this guy should turn green, really. Oh. So, but I don't know what all that is all about. And he has a green thing stuck to his nose, because that's what AI did. So again, these two Adam come in and say, you guys lied, you're the Rishayim, this guy is back to being a tzaddik. Then there's a certain case where they get Malkus. What's the case? In the case that they try to say that this guy is a chalal. He married a grusha. And if you try to say that somebody married a grusha, you can't do kasher zamam, you can't make the Adam into chalalim. So what do? You give them Malkus. That's our Mishnah. And then they get Malkus. That's what the Mishnah is trying to say. That's what the pasuk is saying. That there's certain situations where you cannot do kasher zamam. In that situation, what happens? You get Malkus. Ask Gemara, this is a pasuk that says loisana. Where's this pasuk, Rabbi Isai? Marty Dower cannot answer. Loisana. Where do we say loisana? Aser Sadibris. Here we go. Aser Sadibris. You're not allowed to say false testimony. You're not allowed to say false testimony. So if you say false testimony, you should get Malkus. It's a lav in the Torah. What's the answer to this, Rabbi? Say, why don't you get Malkus? Huh? No, check this out. It's a lav shein bo ma'isa. You can't give Malkus to somebody that didn't do any action. He just spoke. As Gemara, it's in the Aser Sadibris. You're not allowed to say false testimony. Mishum lav shein bo ma'isa. V'chol lav shein bo ma'isa ein loikin alav. You can't give somebody Malkus on a lav shein bo ma'isa. Therefore, I need to come on to another pasuk that says v'hoyo bin hakoyser rasha. Torah Rabbana. There are 4 exceptions to the rule. Again, what's the rule? The rule is that if you say false testimony about somebody, the Bezdin is going to do to you exactly what you intended to do to that guy, including death. If you try to give that guy a death penalty and we found out that you're a liar, they'll give you the death penalty. If you try to make him be chayav $100 and we find out you're a liar, you have to pay $100. There are 4 exceptions to the rule, possibly 5. What are they? So we saw in the Mishnah 2. If they try to make a kayin, the child of a kayin, a ben grusha, ben chalutza. In other words, let me just show you this in case you're brand new to the shir and you want to know what chalitza is. Do we have time for that? Okay. Running a little late here, but hey, it's the first day. Long drush here. So you have 2 brothers. You have Reuven and Shimon, they're the Baldwin brothers from Yavamis. They happen to be my best friends. Live right next to me in Ramat Shemesh. Reuven is married to the 5-towner, and Reuven goes bye-bye. So Shimon has an option. He could either marry her, or if he doesn't want to, he does chalitza. What's chalitza? She must remove his shoe. They put on a shoe. She removes it. It's a whole process, a very long process. She says all these psukim, and Simcha Yisrael. And then he says to her, the official holding a chal in the background, I have no idea. Here she is, she removes the shoe, she tosses it. Here it's going to go flying now, all the way over there. Then she spits a spittle that you could actually see. Here, poof, she spit. Okay, that's basically, we don't have to do the whole thing. And they say, chalutza. That is chalitza. A woman who performs chalitza cannot marry a person who, she's just like a divorcee. So therefore she cannot marry a kohen. So, they come and say, your father married a chalutza, and therefore you are a chalal, so we don't make them chalalim. If they testify that somebody has to go to the miklat or a miklat, they don't go to the miklat. Oh, what's koifer? Koifer is if somebody has an ox and he didn't watch him well, and this ox did something like this. Basically, killed the innocent guy. This ox was a muad. He already did it 3 times. He should have watched him. So he's very responsible. and he has to pay something called kofer. It's machlokes. We're going to see the machlokes here. Either his own value, the owner of the ox's value, or the guy that got killed's value. What makes sense to you? What should it be? Huh?
The guy that died.
You say the guy that died. I agree with you. Well, it depends. The Gemara is going to say it depends. Why are you paying kofer? Are you paying kofer because you should die? You, the owner of the ox, should die. Why should you die? Because you didn't take care of your ox. You had a negligent discharge from your gun. Yeah, but it's the third time it happened. You walk around the street, you're shooting people. This is the third time you shot somebody. They should kill you. Okay, so the Torah is not that strict, but you have to pay. How much? Your own worth, because you should be dead right now. You hear? Makes sense. Now you're saying there's another tzad. And that's what the Gemara is going to go into a little bit. Sorry, did I skip? Yeah. And if somebody testifies that a Jew should have been sold as a slave, why should a Jew be sold as a slave? Because he stole and he doesn't have money to pay for it. So he's sold as a slave. They try to do that, and the Gemara is going to talk about, did he have money, not money? Then the witnesses do not become slaves. They said in the name of Rabbi Kiva, one more. If Edim come to a Bez and say, when we were in Eretz Yisrael, the Bez in Eretz Yisrael said, we're Edim syiumim. They don't have to pay. Then they don't pay because they admitted themselves. Nassim ben Grusho ben Chalutza Kedamaran. We had a whole sugi about these two things. It was in our Mishnah. Ben Goylan Lari Miklot Kedamaran. We had the Ari Miklot in our Mishnah, and we had it in the Gemara, where we learned that you get Malchus and not the actual thing. Now, if your ox killed somebody, they don't pay that kofer, kosavri, kufr kapara, because they hold that the kofer is actually a kapara. Since nobody was, according to the Rishonim, one of the pshatim the Rishonim say here is that since they try to make somebody pay this kofer, now the kofer was only because his ox might have killed somebody, but his ox in reality didn't kill anybody, so he never needed a kapara. So they try to do something that doesn't even exist, so therefore they themselves don't pay the kapara. It's hard to understand, but that's what the Gemara says. Yeah, you heard what I said? What I said. Who's Mandama that says that this kofer is actually for forgiveness? He goes according to this Mandama. How much should you pay when you kill somebody? The amount, that's what you said, Rabbi Gans, the amount of the one that died, however much he's worth, that's how much you should pay. There's a slave market. It doesn't sound good, but every person has a certain value. Go to slave market. You're a 20-year-old healthy male. You are worth X amount. You're 97 years old. You're worth a lot less. So whoever the ox killed, that we go to the marketplace. We say, okay, he had a disease. He was missing a leg, and he's 97 years old. So that's his amount, and that's how much he has to pay. So. And the other man says, no, it's the value of the owner of the bull. That's how much you have to pay. Now, the Gemara says, why? Because I completely understand if the Gemara is saying the opposite of Gans. If the pshat is, I'm doing a kapara for myself, a forgiveness for myself, so it makes a lot of sense. I have to pay my value because I shouldn't be here today. I should be happy I'm alive now. So let me pay whatever I'm worth. Why should I pay the value of the dead guy when it's for forgiveness? How does that help the forgiveness? Says Gemara, you're 100% right. It doesn't make any sense logically. It's actually impossible. Let's just show this real quickly. It says, in kofer yushas olav. That is lemata. Because it's pasuk lamed, it comes after chav beis. So it says by us, in kofer yushas olav, that's when an ox kills somebody. You should do, and it says the word yushas in red. And it says by when a woman is struck by mistake, two people are fighting And here we have a little bit of a, but just pay attention, it says the word Yashis by her. Here's the story. If you did Sanhedrin, you know this case. Two people are fighting, they want to kill each other. Literally, they want to hit each other with a bat. The guy takes a swing, and he, by mistake, hits a pregnant woman. There's no volume over there. Okay. So, no, I hear my voice coming out of there. So let's go back to this pasuk. So it says by that case, it says the word Yashis. Obviously, we're talking about he has to pay the value of the fetus. Malahalon b'denizuk, just like over there, it's talking about the uber is the money, the value of the uber. Avkam b'denizuk, it's the value of the one that was damaged. You're right, it's not logic, it's just the pasuk. Very Shmuel, v'nasim pidyon nafshik. He should give a pidyon to his nefesh. A pidyon, yeah? You know what a pidyon, like a lot of people go to the Rebbe and they give a pidyon. The famous story with the Baditchever on, I think it was Shoshana. He said, okay, everybody should pay a lot of money for the pidyon. So a woman comes to him and says, I can't afford Rebbe, I have no money. He says, I'm sorry, can't help you out. She says, but okay, fine, I'll give you money, I only have enough money for one person. But it's me and my son, the Yasin. I'm sorry. She said, fine, so just take the money for my son. She says, oh, that's what I wanted to hear. She says, Rabbi Shalom, you see how much this Halmana cares about her son, so too you should care about us. The kids are a whole thing. That's a pidyon. But also pidyon nafshi, she pay for your soul, for your nefesh. This is mefurish, pay for your nefesh. Rabbanon in pidyon nafshi, you're right. The money comes to redeem your soul, to do a kapara on your nefesh, on your neshama. Miu kishamina b'denizik shamina. But at the end of the day, when I have to evaluate how much I should pay, I must pay with the value of the nizik. There's a cost. Again, it comes to relieve your soul, to do a kapara on your neshama. But how much do I have to pay? I don't know how much to pay. The halacha is you pay based on how much the guy you killed, or the guy that your bull killed, how much he was worth. Should we do this next piece, or because it's so late we shouldn't? Let's not fall behind on day one. Okay, we'll do it quickly. Gemara says that if two Edom come and they lie and they say that so-and-so should be sold as a Jewish slave, and then we find out that they're liars, they do not become Jewish slaves. What do they get? They get Malchus. This only, Rav Nuna thought to say that this only occurs when the slave, that the guy they wanted him to be a slave, has cash. He could pay, let's say they said he stole $100. So he has $100. So he's not going to be sold as a slave. So since he's not going to be sold as a slave, they also don't become slaves. The Migu the Ilan is Davin, Inu Namilam is Davin. Since the Edom didn't want to cause him to be a slave because he has money to get out of it, so they also don't become a slave. Let's say they try to pick on somebody that has zero money in his bank account. And since he doesn't have any money, Chachamim, the Bezdin would sell him as a slave. But what if these Edom are very wealthy and they have the money to get out of it? They would be sold in such a situation as slaves. That's what he thought to say. So the Gemara says, when he has no money, if you did have money, you wouldn't be sold. So why should we be sold? We wanted you to do whatever you could do. If you have money, pay. If we get your judgment, well, the judgment would say, either pay up money or be sold. Okay, so we have that option and we would pay. We have money. Why should we be sold as slaves? We have the option to get out of it. So no. So Rav Nuna changes it. He says no. It's dafka when both of them don't have money. Both. The guy they try to sell as a slave, the Edom also don't have money, and the guy they try to sell as a slave doesn't have money. In that situation, then the Edom would become slaves. Rava says Rava not true. There's only one person that's sold as a Jewish slave, and that's a person who steals. But the Edom zoymimim, they're never sold as Jewish slaves because it's Xeris HaKasav. Rabboisai, Have a wonderful day.